Oh, the all in my heart, the sun. Oh, we learned a new song yesterday. So I can play the guitar for it. So for those of us who know the All in My Heart song, like the one that goes, the sun, it shines, and all, please help me do the hand movements, okay? If you don't know it already. I don't need the words. This one. You guys ready? Those of us, put your hands in the air, wave it around. Good, I think we're warmed up for it. Okay. You guys ready? You guys ready? Okay, 1, 2, 3, go. The sun, it shines on my face and on my eyes. The sun, it shines in my heart. The sun, it shines in my heart. The river, it flows from the mountains to my toes. The river, it flows in my heart. The river, it flows in my heart. From the mountains, the flowers, the children and the deer, we all love each other. There's a space for everyone in my heart. Okay, we have the trees coming up. Ready? You have your tree arms ready? Okay, 1, 2, 3, go. The trees, they sway and give oxygen every day. The trees, they sway in my heart. The trees, they sway in my heart. And the birds, they fly as a school of fish swim by. Yeah. The animals are all in my heart. Your favorite animal. The animals are all in my heart. From the mountains, the flowers, the children and the deer, we all love each other. It's for everyone in my heart. From the mountains again. From the mountains, the flowers, the children and the deer, we all love each other. There's a space for everyone in my heart. There's a space for everyone in my heart. There's a home for everyone in my heart. Beautiful. So cool. Okay. Almost. Do we have time for one more song? Can we do one more? Okay. So, would you like to share? Okay. You can just pull that.
Dear Thai, dear Sangha, the children, they were asked last night, what is Dharma? And their perception of Dharma was connecting, and connecting with their families, connecting with the earth, and that essential me and you. So, and through that, we introduced what the children will be working with, the two promises. And many of them already have practiced the two promises. The first one is about developing understanding, so we can learn to live together peacefully, right? And one is compassion, and we distilled compassion down to kindness. So we learn compassion so that we can protect ourselves and the lives around us. And so we'll introduce the two promises to you through a song that also has hand signals, and you've probably already practiced it yourself, so please help us.
You guys know the Two Promises song, right? Uh-oh, we have an enthusiast here. You can all follow along. I vow to develop understanding in order to live peacefully with people, animals, plants, and minerals. Animals, plants, and minerals. I vow to develop my compassion in order to protect the lives of people, animals, and minerals, animals, plants, and minerals. One more time. I vow to develop understanding in order to live peacefully with people, animals, plants, and minerals, animals, plants, and minerals. I vow to develop my compassion in order to protect the lives of people, animals, plants, and minerals, animals, plants, and minerals. If I can invite the monastics to come up.
Brothers in the back, can we curve in a circle so we can have the semicircle?
Contemplation before chanting. The Sangha is invited to come back to our breathing so that the collective energy of mindfulness will bring us together as an organism, going as a river with no more separation. Let the whole Sangha breathe as one body, chant as one body, listen as one body, transcending the boundaries of a delusive self, liberating us from the superior complex, the inferiority complex, and the equality complex.
From the depths of understanding, a flower of radiance blooms. The Bodhisattva stands majestically upon the waves of birth and death, free from all afflictions. A great compassion eliminates all sickness, even that once thought of as incurable. Her wondrous love sweeps away all obstacles and dangers. Her willow branch once waves reveals countless Buddha land. Her lotus flower blossoms the multitude of practice centers. We see her true presence in here and now. We offer her the incense of our heart. May the Bodhisattva of deep listening embrace us all. Great compassion. Namo Balokiteshvaraya. Namo Balokiteshvaraya. Namo Balokiteshvaraya. Đâu cần dương liễu xin nguyện từ bi ưng hiện ngay. Nam mô Bồ Tát Quan Thế Âm. 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 Nam mô Bồ Tát Quan Thế Âm.
Dear community, we requested to ask the teens to stay for the Dhamma talk today, so the teens will stay here this morning. Thank you.
Dear respected teacher, dear brothers and sisters, dear young friends,
Welcome to Family Retreat. We're very happy to have so many children and teens in this retreat. They always bring a lot of freshness and joy to the community by their practice and their presence. My name is Sister True Precepts, and I've been here for about 7-8 years. I think I've seen some of you growing up from being a child, now you're a teen. Some of you are in my children program many past years. I'm very happy that you continue to join us in the practice. Today I'd like to share with the children some stories. How many of you have looked at the lily pond? Okay, I see a number of you. When it's raining, you can see some water bubbles on the leaf, and tadpoles and frogs. And they're very beautiful, these water bubbles. So there was a kingdom in Asia, and there was a princess. She lived in that kingdom, and the princess, she could get anything. The king and the queen just try to pamper her and just get what she wants. And so one day she was sitting by the lily or water droplet on the leaf of the in the lily pad, and she was very fascinated, and it was very beautiful. You know, after the rain, if there's some sunshine, you can see the light shining through, and you see many different colors on the bubble. So she gave rise to a thought that, oh, okay, if I can collect these bubbles and make a necklace for myself, that would be splendid. So she asked the king and the queen if she could have a necklace made of water bubbles. Is that possible? No. But anyway, this princess, she really believed that have that kind of necklace. So the king was trying to invite his officials and to let them try to see if they can make a necklace out of the bubbles. But none of them could succeed in doing that. And at last there was a monk, and he asked to come and help the king. So this monk come by the pond and sit by the princess and say that, and told her that if you can help me, then I can help you make the necklace. And so she said, I can. So he said, why don't you help me collect water bubbles? And she was trying her best, you know, gathering them, but then as soon as she touched it, they just burst, right? So she was very unhappy. After a while, she started to give up the idea that she's not going to have this kind of necklace. So, you know, lives, there are things you want to have. And you ask your parents for them, and sometimes you don't get it, and you feel very unhappy, right? What are the popular things that now kids like to have? You raise your hand. What do you like to have? Anyone? You like games? Toys? I guess we're not working. you know, true happiness is not from something we need to have, right? It's really from that counts. So it's the joy, inner peace that you have that is more precious than the thing that you like to have outside. True? So in our daily lives, when we interacted with our friends or our brothers and sisters, we can learn to cultivate our understanding, our love, just like the song you sing, the Two Promises, and share that with our parents and our brothers and sisters. There are times I have witnessed that, you know, if a young person, if you want something, then you ask your parent, like, if they can give you something before you can do that. For instance, if, you know, someone would like to have, if your mom asks you to put away your dishes or to clean up your room, then sometimes you ask her, like, could you make me a peanut butter sandwich? Or could you let me have 15 minutes on my iPad? You know, you kind of bargain, right? You want to, like, have what you want first before you can help other people. But, you know, at the monastery, we don't do that. We just, we want to help. We have the heart, we have love inside of us, and we want to offer. It's not that somebody have to give something to us. Okay, I'm going to tell you another story. There were these two mice, and they live in the same home. And one mouse, his name is July Heat. And the other mouse, his name is June Breeze. And so July Heat, he's kind of like he got quite pampered. So, you know, he lived in this big house, and he has everything that he needs to be comfortable. He have hot water bath and hot food and you know, all these hot everything and all these splendid clothes and games and toys. And so he was really enjoying all this comfort in his home. And June Breeze is really unusual kind of mouse. Every day he would try to take away something that he enjoyed. For instance, he tried to take a cold bath and say, "Oh, this is nice and warm." Or he chew on, you know, leeks or celery and say, "Oh, what a yummy cheese." And then, you know, July Heat is kind of feeling weird, you know, what is this mouse doing? Say, I must live with a very dumb mouse. So, in each day, June Breeze is trying to tell July Heat that, you know, try to practice like me, you know, just do like me. But the other mouse wouldn't listen. So one day they have a big snowstorm, and covering the big house and the mouse house, so they couldn't get out of the house. They couldn't connect to the outside world. So July Heat was getting very uncomfortable. You know, he was shaking, he was cold, he didn't have his hot water to take a bath in, he didn't have the hot food because there were no electricity. You know, at one time here at the monastery, we really have a snowstorm. It took you to get here because of that snowstorm. Yeah, and it was for us, you know, we have like no electricity for about almost 10 days. And it was snowing very hard. We didn't have any electricity, we didn't have, except the dining room where we had the generator. but we didn't have water, we didn't have, heat in the room. So you know what the sister did? We melted the snow to melt like 4 or 5, pots in order to make a little amount of water. And we were very happy. We just sit around drinking tea and enjoying the present moment. And we all like cuddle up in the dining room because other rooms were so cold. So anyway, this snowstorm, it hits their home. And, June breeze was trying to convince July heat to help him about the snow. But, July heat just said, no, I can't do that. I'm just going to wait for the electricity to come back. I'm waiting for the heat to come back. So they waited and waited for 3-4 days and nothing happened. And there were no more food to eat. There were no more water to use. So July heat was very desperate. He was about to give up. So June breeze, he's trying to dig the snow out, He's trying to do it. And after 3 or 4 days, what happened? You know what happened? A nice sunny day. Well, it continued to snow, and July heat was getting very desperate. So he just lied down on his bed and say, okay, I'm ready to die. And the other, he was continue to dig even though his 4 feet were frozen. And then one day, July heat opened his eyes and he thought he was in heaven because he saw a white angel. So he woke up. Actually, the angel was a nurse. He was in the hospital somehow. And June breeze was lying on the bed next to him, He was like covered up with like heating pads and all that because he was so cold from digging the snow. So it ended up that July heat his life, And he was so grateful. And from that day on, he felt that his friend was the wise, most intelligent friend he ever had. And he didn't think of July heat, June breeze as someone who is dumb anymore. So, in everyday life, sometimes we might not get everything we wanted, And so if we can enjoy what we have, we can be very happy. This morning when I walked down the stream and see the stream running very beautifully, I felt very grateful because we don't usually have water in the stream in summer. Usually it's very dry. So I felt that we are so lucky to have water because, right now in other states, there might be a drought. I know in California, they have quite a drought there, and people have to save their water. So I felt so lucky we still have water running. Okay, I think that's it for the children. You can, when you hear the next sound of the bell, you can stand up and bow to the altar, and then you can turn around, bow to the, and then go out and continue your program. Thank you for listening.
Okay, children, if you can follow Brother David, he's on this side, and Brother Bode is in to to go to the brothers' dining hall. I'm sorry. And all of our other big kids who are behind, you're welcome to fill in the front row so it feels cozy up here. And I'd like to just make one short announcement for the parents who were not able to come to orientation last night. We'll be hanging out in the Brothers' Dining Hall until the end of the Dharma talk. So please pick up your children there right after the end of the Dharma talk. And we also have a sign-up list for volunteers to come and hang out and support us and play with the children. So if whenever you pick up your children, you can take a look at the sign-up list. And also anyone who is not a parent but still wants to play with children, we have some offering dancing and storytelling and arts and crafts. We would love to have you join us. Thank you.
So dear Thầy, dear family, this family retreat, I think it's called Be Free Where You Are. It's quite a nice title, especially when it linked to Interdependence Day, we call it here. So how to be free, how to be happy, and how to be peaceful. When we come to the practice of mindfulness, there might be some inspiration, some motivation that brings you to the practice, right? And each one of us has a different kind of motivation or aspiration. But how to maintain so that we can continue to enjoy the practice and not like feeling bored, especially those of you who used to be children and you have come to Blue Cliff or Plum Village or other center, and now you're growing up and you meeting the same again, maybe even meeting the same brothers and hearing the same Dharma talks over and over. So how do you renew your practice? How do you renew your inspiration to continue to enjoy the practice? So I like to share about the 5 energies, the motivation that can help us to continue. We also call it the 5 power. And this power is not about getting more success in life or position or money or fame, sensual pleasures and so on. But it's really about cultivating the energy that is inside of you. And it's the true power. It's not something that we are seeking outside, even if we are seeking from a teacher. I want to tell you a story I heard from my elder brother when I was at home. So there was this young man, and he didn't believe in himself. And so one day his wife told him that, why don't you go to the village and find a wise person where you learn to be courageous and to believe in yourself. So he went to the village and he found a teacher. Next day he come back and he knocked on the door very hard. And his wife answered and say, who's there? And he say, it's and his wife was so impressed. He looked more he sounded more confident. And she was saying, oh my gosh, you look so like confident and changed and so on. I say, yes, I'm a hero. I'm not afraid of anybody. And so she was so happy, so she invited him to sit down and she fanned for him and she bring him food. And then a few hours later, the policeman was trying to look for a criminal. And that criminal was passing by this couple's home. And so the policeman came in and said, do you see that person and so? And he said, that's me. He said, it's me. And they asked, you're not afraid? We're going to put you, in jail. And he said, I'm a hero. I'm not afraid of anybody. And then they say, okay, then we will take you to, the prison. He say, that's right, that's the right way to do it. So then his wife has to come and explain to them, that he has new mantras and he's saying the same over and over again. So then they release him. So, it's like powers that you just borrow from outside and it's not really your inner power. And sometimes if we don't use it skillfully, more than, bringing goods to us. So I'm going to write these 5 powers on the board. So the first power, faith. What do you define? How do you define? Anybody? You can raise your hand. What is faith to you? Yes? Okay, so trust. Another word for it? Belief. Okay. The second power is diligence. Is there another word for diligence? Yes. Persistence. Is that right? Another word still? Yes. Consistent effort. And the third one is what we're practicing, mindfulness. Mindfulness, you all know already, right? Awareness. What else? Huh? Presence, yeah. Fully present. The fourth one is what's come after mindfulness? Concentration. Another word for concentration. Focus. Yeah. Steadiness. Okay. The fifth one is, you can already guess, mindfulness, concentration, and insight. This is, what's insight? Huh? Understanding. Yes. Clear state or clear scene. Okay. So it's vision or yeah. We can call it wisdom too. It's very easy. So when we practice mindfulness, we need to have these 5 powers or the 5 energies that help us to maintain our practice. So the first one, faith, is it's very important to have faith. It's like if you never taste a fruit like a mango before, and somebody tell you that, oh, the mango tastes very wonderful, you should try it. It's very sweet, it's very tangy, and so on. But if you never taste it, then you can never enjoy it. So the same is with mindfulness. You have to come and taste for yourself. And the Buddha always say that my teaching is the teaching that you come and you see for yourself. You have to experience it. And he didn't want anyone to just believe him and follow him. That was very clear from beginning. Thais usually say, I already have a path and I don't need to worry. I don't need to have fear. Once you know that you're on the right path, then you have faith to continue. So, in order to build our faith, we really need to, first of all, we need to meet a spiritual teacher or spiritual teachers. and to hear their teachings. And after listening to the teachings, we need to contemplate on it and put it into experiment. So in Vietnamese, it's called Vang, Tư, and Tu. You listen, and you contemplate, and you practice it. You have to apply it. So if you come to the practice and just listening to the teachings only, and then you just leave it like that, then it could be the same like that man was just using the same mantras over for different situations, and it might not work. So in order to practice, to be able to share with others, we need to really taste it and see for ourselves. Master Lin Chi, how many of you know Master Lin Chi from his sutras and so on? How many of you have read Master Lin Chi? Okay, very few. So Master Lin Chi is the, we call the patriarchs of this line, this lineage. So you know that we are the 43rd generation of this lineage. If you receive the 5 trainings from the monks and nuns, or and you receive a name, and you become Thai student, so you belong to the 4th generation of this Lin Chi lineage. So Master Lin Chi wanted we need to have full trust in our own enlightenment and not to search for it elsewhere. So he really emphasized that you have to seek your own enlightenment. You cannot just try to get it from a spiritual teacher or from the Buddha. So in order to have that, we need to believe in ourselves and our own capacity to be awakened and to our understanding and love. And the next one is diligence. Diligence, as you share about being persistent and having the effort. So in Buddhism, we also talk about the 4 efforts. So the 4 right efforts. It's not about hard working, or it's not about making a lot of trying your best and everything. It's really about how you think. And I think before that, I'm gonna draw a picture of the So usually Thai will make a circle and to have an idea about this. So we know that we have 8 levels of consciousnesses, but today I'm just going to mention 2 or 3. So the consciousness that we operate in our daily life is called mind consciousness. And the unconscious is called stored consciousness. And in the middle, we have something we call manas, which is the 8th consciousness. So, in a mind consciousness, actually in consciousness, it's like a garden where you have all the different kinds of, we call these are the seeds. It's like our anger, our happiness, our joy, peace, and so on. There are seeds. And when there is enough conditions, like the rain, so if something water it, then the seed will sprout up into the level of the mind consciousness. So it could be a flower or weed. So when we practice mindfulness, we have to be aware of what kind of seeds we are watering and that is coming up in our mind. So, and I think the manners I won't talk about today, so we just leave it like that. So when we practice the 4 right efforts, we have to know what kind of seeds being watered. So the first one is, if you have negative seeds that are coming up, like weed, negative or unwholesome seeds that been watered, like your anger, your despair, then we try our best to calm it or to change it. For instance, you might feel sleepy right now because of the rain and so on. You can change it by, looking at the lights or looking at something that make you feel more awake, or just, do something. So you change it, calm, and you change it. And change it to a more positive state. And the second diligence is when you have a negative seed that's been watered. When you have a negative seed down here, and if it's still kind of dormant, then you leave it, don't touch it. So Thầy said that if you truly love somebody, try not to water their negative seeds. So if it's maybe then don't touch it, okay? Water it. Trying to keep it down there as long as possible. And the third diligence, third right effort, for wholesome seeds like happiness, freedom, peace, joy, if it has come up, let's say today you read the meditation and you feel very happy, so try to keep it as long as you can. It's like when you have a nice friend coming over your house for tea, you want to keep that friend for as long as possible, right? But if you have a friend that's chattering and gossiping and doing all this and you're not comfortable, you don't want to keep that person too long. So it's like that. You want to keep your nice friend in the living room as long as possible in the mind consciousness. And the positive seeds that are down there, it's not being watered, we try to water it. So that's the 4 right efforts. So when we practice, we should know what we're practicing. It's not simple breathing in, I know I'm breathing in, breathing out, I know I'm breathing out. If you keep doing that, then you will ask, what's next, right? So the next thing is to identify what's happening in our mind, what's happening in our consciousness, so that we can water the good seeds, prevent the negative seeds to come up. So the third power is mindfulness. And the Buddha talked about mindfulness in very concrete. So the first thing that we practice mindfulness with is with our body. And the second is with our feelings. The third one is with our mind, our mental states. And the fourth one is with our object of mind, what we are looking at. If I'm looking at the orchids, then the orchids are my object of mind. So in our daily life, we can be mindful in what we touch and see and hear and feel, so that we can cultivate awareness, the energy of awareness and being fully present. So when we practice mindfulness, the most concrete practice is the 5 mindfulness trainings, which you will hear sometimes this week. And they give us direction of how we can practice mindfulness. Mindfulness, when we can cultivate in our daily life, it will bring us a lot of peace, happiness, and freedom. I usually say the 5 mindfulness trainings, if you practice them well, then it's like your protection. You don't need to have insurance or other kinds of protection, but you can practice mindfulness and it doesn't cost you a thing. So I want to share a little bit about the practice of mindfulness is the practice of letting go. So there was a story of the Buddha one time. He was with his monks, and they were sitting down the lunch. There was a farmer running by, and he was like very desperate. And the Buddha said, "What's wrong?" And the farmer just say that, "Well, I have 4 cows, but they have run away, so I'm very unhappy. Have you seen my cows?" And the Buddha said, "Well, we haven't seen your cows, but you might want to look in that direction." So the farmer left, and the Buddha turned to his monks and he said, "You are all very lucky. You don't have any cows." So at our monastery, we practice actually to release our cows. The opposite is true here when we practice mindfulness. Like the Sangha, if the more work they give you or the more like position they want to put you in, you try to run away from it as you can. So work here for us, it means cows. So unless, it's something that we really enjoy, but if it's not, then we have to practice to be mindful to take cows. So it's not a burden to us. And each time one of us, to release his or her cow, then the Sangha congratulate him or her. I think Brother Phap Man has recently released some of his cows, and I did come and congratulate him. I still have some cows to lose, but I have to wait for the right person. Cows too. So, the true power is not having more jobs to do or a higher position, really, because the more we occupy, the more it takes time and energy. There's this story of this fisherman, every day he go by the river and he's doing his fishing. So a businessman come by, it was in the park, so he come by every day and he saw this man fishing. And after a week or so, he kind of get annoyed. So he asked this gentleman, "What are you doing? Every day you just sit by the bank of the river doing nothing. They're working every day." So the gentleman just smiled and didn't say anything. Then later on he said that, "But can you tell me what are you doing all that business for?" So this businessman, he was saying that, "Well, I want to get a nice home and then big garden and where we have a pond and I have time to enjoy it and my family can just enjoy it." And so the fisherman say, "Well, that's what I'm doing." I have all this time to enjoy, being by the pond and do nothing. But it's not all about that. We can look into the reality to see what we really want. Important? Is it crucial for our happiness and peace and freedom? If you ask the monks and nuns, some of us, pursue high careers and jobs, but then we let it all go. And you might want to ask the question, why? Why? For me, being a nun, I have more space, more time, and more freedom. I pursue a career of elementary school when I was younger, and I really loved it. But I thought, if I become a teacher out there, I could not do much. I could share what I truly believe in, and I could not share that to my students. And it's like you have to do the same thing over and over under the direction of the board and so on. So I felt kind of stuck. So I think becoming a Dharma teacher is giving much joy. And I have much more space and time to enjoy my life that I want to live. I think the simple living is really it's really bringing us joy. I know some of you, maybe you feel more comfortable at home with everything, around you, all the comfort. And coming here, you might not have all of that. And we also apologize that we're still in the process of construction in the Harmony storage area. I felt very compassionate for those staying there or in a J candle. And it's not the most comfortable space, but you choose to be here. You choose to enjoy the practice with us. You choose to be together, and that's really wonderful. When we have that, we don't really need any other things. So when we practice mindfulness and cultivate this energy of mindfulness in us, we can recognize what's going on in our body, feelings, perceptions, consciousness, and we just simply say hello to whatever is coming up in us. We don't have to say this is good or bad, this is not enjoyable. You can just smile to it and take good care of it. And it will just gradually transform into something else. The basic teachings of the Buddha is just about impermanence, non-self, and aimlessness. So you know that everything's changing. So if we grasp for things that are permanent and not changing, we will tend to suffer a lot. I see in the forest, things are changing every day. If you come to the forest every day, new plants are being born and new leaves coming up, and old leaves falling to the ground, and old trees falling, and we have new trees. So thanks to impermanence that these things can happen. So if things just stay the way they are, imagine how bored that will be. And the next power or energy is concentration. Someone say focus or steadiness. It's like cooking a potato, you know. If you want to cook a potato, you have to put enough water in the pot. And you have to keep the fire on a certain limit. And you have to put a lid on the pot. And you have to watch it, right? If you go away, it will just burn. But if you don't watch it, then it might not be cooked properly. So concentration is like cooking a potato. You have to be there. You have to do it consistently. You don't just leave it there. So when we practice mindful walking, mindful sitting, mindful eating, we apply mindfulness to what we do. Then it will give you the insight. If you just come to the practice and taste a little bit of sitting meditation, walking meditation, and then you go home and you just don't have time to do it, then what happens? We kind of feel like we're back to that cycle again, right? Being busy, being anxious, being stressed. If we keep the practice consistently, then it will give rise to insight and compassion and peace. There's a story of a Zen master. He has and his student doesn't like to do the daily chores like working meditation. So he just sit for a long time in the meditation hall, or he would all day. And this master is kind of like curious. So he said, "What are you doing?" So his students say, "I want to be a Buddha." And so the master didn't say anything. Then he find a piece of tile, and he sat on the floor, and he polished the tile on the floor, rub it, he make a lot of noise, and his student was kind of annoying. Say, "What are you doing, master?" He said, "I'm polishing it to make a mirror." The student said, "What? How can you make out of that piece of tile?" And the master say, "Just like you." You think you can just sit for a long time or chant all these sutras and you become a Buddha? So the student got enlightened, you know. It's not about sitting meditation only or walking meditation only or eating meditation only that you can be mindful. You can be mindful throughout the day and not getting caught, you know, that the practice has to be like that in order to be fruitful. So while you're working, maybe chopping vegetables, you can be enlightened already. There are Zen masters who, while they pound the rock, and Master Gioi N, he got enlightened for working in the kitchen. So, you know, if we just come back to our breathing, come back to our body, being present in whatever we do, we cultivate mindfulness and then concentration. So the last one of the 5 powers is the insight, wisdom, or understanding. You know that each one of us has a seed of wisdom in there, a lot of seeds of wisdom that have been transmitted over many generations and many billions of years from our human ancestors. And we must make use of them, right? We don't just try to get it from outside. So by practicing calming and looking deeply, we can cultivate our own wisdom. We can be our own teacher. But we need to keep the practice constant. There's an image of a bodhisattva called Manjushri. How many of you know Manjushri Bodhisattva? Yeah. He's the bodhisattva of great understanding or great wisdom. You see his image, picture him as a very young man and holding in one hand the sword, in one hand he's holding a lotus flower or wisdom book. And he's riding on a green lion or white lion. And so is the king of the forest. So this bodhisattva is depicted as the king of wisdom. So therefore he's sitting on the lion and he's holding a sword. And the sword is the tool that he used to cut off afflictions and suffering and all the misunderstanding in the world. So in order to have insight, we also need to look inside ourselves, to look at the way we live, and to see what can I cut off. Just like the mouse, like it can't just live without certain conditions. So we can look into our lives and see what are the things that are not essentials to our happiness and joy, and we can let it go. The practice of letting go is very crucial in Buddhism. We say that it's one of the important practice. So we can be like Bodhisattva Manjushri to, in our daily life, we can use the sword of wisdom to help us cut through our afflictions. And only with wisdom that it can help us to get out our suffering. Like this morning, Brother Tendru, in his guided meditation, breathing in, I know that I'm alive. And breathing out, I'm very happy that I'm still alive. Our teacher, up to this day, he's still alive. After the hemorrhage he got in November, he's just gonna pass away, but he's still alive. He's learning to eat with his mouth instead of the feeding tube. And we heard that he started to eat an apple. He asked his attendants for an apple, and then later on he wanted to taste a lemon, and then an avocado. So he's doing well, and he's learning to walk, he's learning to exercise, and he's been able to sit upright with the help of his attendants, even though his right side is paralyzed, but he can still do sitting. So you know that he has great faith in the practice, and he has great diligence, mindfulness, concentration, and the insight that, he can fight this. He doesn't have to give up. I want to read to you something that the brother and sister put online, our teacher. So about 9 years ago, somebody asked Thai, you will be 80 year, do you want to retire as a spiritual teacher at any point? And this is his answer. He's just going to read the whole thing. In Buddhism, we see that teaching is done not by talking, but also by living your own life. Your life is the teaching, it's the message. And since I continue to sit, to walk, to eat, to interact with the Sangha and people, I continue to teach. If I have already encouraged my senior students to begin to replace me in giving Dharma talks. In the last 2 years, I have asked Dharma teachers, not only in the monastic circle, but also in the lay circle, to come up and give Dharma talks. Many of them have given wonderful Dharma talks. Some Dharma talks have been. I see myself in my continuation, and I will not retire. I will continue to teach. If not by the Dharma talks, then in my way of sitting, eating, smiling, and interacting with the Sangha. I like to be with the Sangha. Even if I don't give a Dharma talk, I like to join in walking meditation, sitting meditation, eating in mindfulness, and so on. So don't worry. When people are exposed to the practice, they are inspired. You don't need to talk in order to teach. You need to live your life mindfully and deeply. I should have read that first, then I don't need to give a talk. But thank you for your listening. We hope that you can make use of 5 powers as a tool to help you to further your practice and to enjoy the practice. And we will continue tomorrow. Thank you.